Alright, boys, we got a late night stream going on here. Late night stream. So, whoever's tapping in, especially from last night, shout out to you, boys. But, I'll be kind of concise on this one. Just get some topics out right now. We will react to the UFC 317 pay per view card. Then we'll get into the press conference, some reaction to that. Some of the people, Pantoja calling for his contenders or his pound for pound spot. He wants to be like number 2 now. We're gonna react to that. We're gonna react to Dana White saying he didn't want to see that Paddy Pimblett fight, but who else is Ilia gonna fight? So I feel like Dana. You'll get my take on that in a minute here. We're also gonna talk about Ilia Topuria, him calling out Paddy and just solidifying. There is Justin Gaethje, there is Arman, but basically solidifying that he wants Paddy. So I'll react to that as well. And what's the last thing I was going to touch on? Oh, then there's some other hot topics like Sean Strickland getting into some beef with a fighter who beat his teammate. So let's get into all this right now. Not just a beef, but Sean Strickland punched the dude. Okay, so number 1, Peyton Talbot, Felipe Lima. Peyton Talbot, in my opinion, pulls off an upset here. I don't remember what the odds were going into this, but Felipe Lima 14-1, riding a huge win streak. I think he hadn't lost since his debut, if I'm not mistaken. You had Peyton Talbot coming off a loss, dominant loss to Ione Barcelos. Really struggled in the grappling, displayed great grappling in this fight, and honestly was able to reverse Felipe in almost like every single takedown exchange. And if he did get taken down, he had the ability to get up this time around. So that was great by Peyton. I'm actually going to unmute this now just in case I forget. Let's see here. Beneil, Moicano. I figured this is how the fight was going to go. Both guys similar in age. Both guys been in the UFC for a long time. And honestly, Beneil has been a class above Renato his entire career. And, Beneil is a very high IQ fighter. He's got good striking. He's got better jiu-jitsu than Renato. So I figured that's how this fight was going to go. Renato honestly kind of folded, though, a little bit quicker than I expected, if I'm being honest. Oh, going back to this real quick, Peyton Talbot, who to match him up with next? He called out Adrian Yanez. He also called out, or no, he didn't call him out, but there is, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's Adrian Yanez and there's, okay, let's just pull it up real quick. So there's Yanez and there is Patchy Mix. Peyton Talbot versus Patchy Mix, great matchup. Peyton Talbot versus Adrian Yanez, great matchup. So that's what you do with Peyton Talbot. He can't fight too far ahead because, look, Ione's right there at number 17. Hopefully Peyton can get in there soon as well. Okay, with Felipe Lima, there isn't much for him, I don't think. Yeah, I don't got much for him. He's ranked number like 53. The matchmakers will find out what to do with him. I even tried. I was going to do it for him for charity. But Felipe Lima doesn't get it this time around. Oh, let me pull up the chat real quick in case some of the boys are hopping in. All right. Back to the Moicano versus Dariush fight. So Dariush kind of I wasn't surprised here. What to do with Dariush? I don't know, honestly. I think I got to fight for Dariush. Although Moicano, let's pull this up again. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I had all these ready to go off the top of my head, but let me see here. Zay, yeah, I'm gonna get Jacoby on. I'm gonna try to get him on this week. I'm gonna DM him tomorrow. I was just giving him at least today, you know what I mean, to to enjoy the win. Plus, I figure his DMs are flooded, so if I do hit him up, I'll be like way low on the totem pole by the time he wakes up in the morning to read that shit. So I'll message him in the morning. He'll hopefully see it, and then we'll get him on the podcast. We're also going to try to get a Jose. I want to say his name right. We're going to try to get Jose on too, who knocked out Hyder. We're going to try to get Jose on. Now, as far as Moicano goes, I think I got a matchup for Moicano. Oh yeah, Money Moik, you run him with Iron Michael Chandler. Iron Mike coming off 3 losses, right? Money Moik coming off 2 losses. At this point, Iron Mike can't just fight anybody, but the names he demands as far as the top of the division, it's just not there right now. So, Iron Mike versus Money Moik. Beneil Dariush, number 10. I mean, he doesn't care about titles, doesn't care about much. So he just wants to, preach the good word of God. No hate on that at all. So let's see here. In fact, I loved last night how they're all shouting out Jesus. All the winners last night did that. Beneil Dariush, he hasn't fought Dan Hooker, I don't think. That would be a good fight. That's like a pay-per-view scrap right there. Hopefully Dan Hooker doesn't just starch him. And if you don't want that Dan Hooker fight, I would say Dariush versus we could go Dariush versus Grant Dawson. I kind of like that one. Something about it. Dariush versus Grant Dawson, or no, I like that. Give Grant Dawson a little step up. Then it could be off to the races for Grant Dawson. Let me see here. Okay, so that's what you do with those 2 boys. Moving on. Then we're going to get into the juicy press conference. Okay. Brandon Royval, Joshua Van. This is an easy matchmaking here because Joshua Van is already set up to fight Alexandre Pantoja. Shout out to Van. I thought he was getting set up. Shout out to my co-host on the Wednesday show, MTK. He's the one who fucking put that rotten seed in my head, going against Van heavy with the narrative that he's getting set up here. But shout out to Van. That boxing is crisp, for sure. Royval, what do you do with Royval? You give Royval... Don't want to waste any time, so let me just pull it up. Again, I had the name. You give Royval Tagir. I like the Tagir fight. You see, because all these guys are booked right now. Although they're all fighting in August. But, he fought Tatsura. Albazi could be a fight, but depending on the result. I'm thinking you give Raw Dog Tagir. I think it's a good fight for Tagir too, a good test. Who's Tagir been fighting? Azat Moxham, Clayton Carpenter, Cody Durden, Nate Maines, Tim Elliott, Alon Nascimento, Bruno Silva. So, give him that test. Give him Raw Dog. Give Tagir Raw Dog. And if Raw Dog can beat Tagir, I think that'll help out his confidence. Let's see here. Obviously, we know what to do with Van now. Also, Royval, take care of this guy for life, Dana White. And, take some time off as well, Royval, to heal up that brain. For sure, that's what I want to put out there. Take some time off. Don't rush it to come back. This man was concussed, had to pull out of a fight against Kopp, I believe. So just take it easy for now. Pantoja, Cara France. It was somewhat predictable. This is one of the slight problems with flyweight that I have, is that flyweight is, how do I put this? Flyweight is, you're like 1 or 2 wins away from a title shot, at all times. So this was kind of a predictable outcome. with that being said, this leaves us with great matchups because, like I said, Pantoja versus Joshua Van, good fight. Also because Van is goes from like fucking number 10 or 12 ranked to number one contender. So that's just like what's the word? It mixes up the whole division. So that's what we're getting here, a whole mix up. Brand new matchup here, Van versus Pantoja. And you know what, people, I don't even think are sleeping on Van at this point because that boxing is so crisp. I would love to see it against Pantoja. Talking about Kai, what you do with Kai, you run that shit with Manel Kopp. This has been fucking brewing. It's been in the making. Manel Kopp wants to be the number one contender. You fight the guy who just lost to the champ to earn that spot. And then that'll be a fresh contender for Pantoja, who doesn't want to fight Merab, which we will get into. So, into the main event. I actually didn't look at who Charles should fight yet, so I'll go look into that real quick. But, you know, Ilia does what he promised he was going to do. First round knockout. Gets the money. You know what I'm saying? Biggest star in the UFC now. I mean, the golden ticket right here. He's him. We're going to get into who he fights, but I'll just do a spoiler alert real quick. I'll just get into it right now, actually. You got Arman Tsarukyan. You got Justin Gaethje. You got Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett walked in the Octagon, right? I'm just going to pull up Justin Gaethje's win streak real quick. Yeah, so Justin Gaethje is literally 1-1 in his last two. And he wants a title shot, demanding it with the win over Fiziev. I just don't fully see it. I think Paddy's last win. I think Paddy's win streak just beats that. You know what I'm saying? But what I was going to get to is that Arman didn't get the cosign from Dana White at the press conference. Arman basically got the it's a step in the right direction. And we're going to get more into that, so I don't want to fully spoil it. But let's just put it like this. Arman isn't the number one contender, and that's why it's also kind of funny to me why Dana White is hating, you know, on this face-off between Ilia and Paddy. But it's all good. It's all good. Okay. So with that being said, too, obviously I just narrowed it down to where Paddy's the number one contender. So we're going to go Paddy here. It's also the money fight, but it's not only that. Arman pulled out because of a weight issue, you know, and he still hasn't fought. He just proved he can make championship weight. I think Dana's saying, okay, now go get a fight, you know, and win the next fight, and then we'll go ahead and make you number one contender. Charles Oliveira, what do we do with him? Okay, Oliveira, here's what you do with Oliveira. Already fought Gaethje. Already fought Arman. Already fought DP. Maybe you do a Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. Or sorry, Oliveira versus Dan Hooker. Charlie Olives versus Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker on a 3-fight win streak. You beat a Charlie Olives. Remember he called him that? I think we got to run that. Charles Oliveira versus Dan Hooker. Enough said. Enough said. Okay. So that concludes that. Now, like I just said, Paddy and Ilia faced off in the Octagon. As soon as the fight was over, Ilia called him in. Gave him a little bit of a shove. And it was off to the races. Now the money is about to happen. We got the money coming. The money fight is coming. So, give me 1 second. Okay, so yeah, the money fight's coming. You got people like DJ saying He doesn't want to exactly. He doesn't understand Demetrius Johnson why Arman isn't getting the fight, and so let's just get into that now. Then let's just get into that now. So, what's his name? DJ doesn't understand why Arman isn't getting the fight. So let me break it down for you here. All right. I got a yawn. I'm holding that shit. Okay. That's so much better. All right. Let me pull up what's the correct one. We're gonna get in. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Listen carefully. My bad. Once again, it's not about getting in the good graces. The guy had the opportunity to fight for a title, and he didn't make weight. You can't mess up any worse than that. Not only that, but he pulled out of the fight. He left them high and dry without a fight. You could have missed weight, and you could have fought. But this is the thing about Arman that I put out there when it happened back last year. Arman is somewhat, this is where spoiledness came into play, because he said, if I can't win the title, then I don't want to even step in the octagon. So I'm going to pull out of the fight. I'm going to pull out of the fight, which is just really disgusting. It's really disgusting work. And I didn't even mean to come on here and say that, but as I'm just kind of getting into it right now, that's disgusting work. So that's why guys like Demetrius Johnson, which is also funny because Demetrius has a YouTube channel, so he knows exactly how the UFC is run, because the UFC is run in likes of how you run a YouTube channel. Why in the world would you throw Arman in there, a fight that might not even go through because he showed before that he can't fucking make it? Then you're going to book Paddy against someone else. He might lose that, and then the promotion loses money because they don't get the fight that's already been set up, already facing off in the octagon. Why would they do that? It makes no sense on any level. And then saying oh, but he's the number one contender. Why? Because he made weight after he pulled out of a fight and left the UFC high and dry? He wasn't the number one contender before he made weight? You don't just keep that spot when you pull out like that. Dana's been very clear about that. Arman needs another fight. All right? And we could have maybe booked Arman against, someone, but I'll get into that on another episode on the Wednesday show probably. We could talk about that. Let's just finish this clip though. A step in the right direction. So Dana couldn't have been more clear here if you really listen. It's a step in the right direction. He just got asked if he's, if Arman's next for the title because he made weight. And this is what Dana just said. It's a step in the right direction. So that means you got more work to do, translation for you. Okay, so then Dana's being funny here, and I think I know what he's up to, but let's just play it. Not this one. Yo, my bad. Give me 1 second. Let me get that on screen for you. There we go. That should have never happened. Let's start there. Yo, what up, Prime? What up, Prime? Yeah, I'm a little bit shook, but hey, we all kind of saw it coming, didn't we? We all kind of saw it coming. So right now I'm talking about Dana White, and get this. I think what Dana White's doing, he wants Paddy versus Ilia. Who doesn't? I think he's just negotiating. So right here he's saying, let me just rewind this to the beginning. It's like, didn't Dana put the title around Ilia? Maybe I could be wrong here, but Dana puts the title around Ilia and just fucking storms out of the cage. Fucking hang around there, bro. What do you got to do? He definitely, that's definitely what everybody's got on their mind right now, Prime. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. So I don't know what's going on with Dana. I think that he knows more behind the scenes. What my guess is that there is some type of negotiation that needs to be had. That's my guess. The way he answers that question, not being all in on it, means that somebody's contract is like, not necessarily there yet. Somebody's got a deal that's about to be up and they're trying to renegotiate. And so it's almost like if we can get this deal done and they don't outprice themselves, then we can make the fight happen. But if not, then we'll probably just, go ahead and swoop Armand in there. That's my guess. And, that's what you got to do with Dana. You got to read between the lines. It's never what comes to face value. Dana, all that glazing, everybody was asking him, why are you glazing John Jones? Here's the reason why. Because he wanted the John Jones versus Aspinall fight. You can't piss off John. Alright, so that's that part of the clip. And that's pretty much it from Dana as far as the Paddy versus Ilia fight goes. But I'm just here to tell you that Dana White is completely on board with it as long as, he can get each fighter to not outprice himself before this fight happens. Because, again, you're talking about a title fight, right? So there's a chance that Paddy could ask for more money. There's a chance that Ilia might try to renegotiate now. Especially Ilia, right? Because a guy like Ilia, you got to think about it like a McGregor. You got to renegotiate after every fight, right? After every fight. And again, if he's renegotiating after every fight, Ilia, then he's getting more and more money after every fight, rightfully so. You give him the biggest fight possible because that's what's going to recoup your dollars that you're paying him. For example, Paddy the Baddie, the little English kid, if you're Prime. Paddy doesn't deserve a title shot. Just beating like Michael Chandler isn't enough. Armand's dying with Ilia. Also, Dana glazes Paddy. He shouldn't have a title shot yet. Beating Michael Chandler isn't a huge thing. So, Prime, you're not into the title shot, and I think a lot of people aren't. I think I'm a silent majority. And that's why you got to tune in on Wednesday, Prime, because MTK is usually representative of the opposite side of where I'm at, if I'm just being dead honest. So, in a way, hear what my co-host has to say on Wednesday. But I think that even according to the poll I did last night, immediately after the fight, after Paddy won in the Octagon, he was only like 55% voted up, winning by 5%. So, or what do you call that, 10%. So, I do kind of think there's a lot of demand for Armand right now. But me personally, I'm not seeing it. But I'm just one person. You feel me? You think that, let me ask you this, Prime. Let me ask you this, or anyone else watching right now. You think that Armand shouldn't fight one more time, although he left the UFC high and dry and didn't even fight for that title, because if he missed weight, that means he wouldn't have been able to be eligible to win the title. And that's why he ultimately didn't even show up to the fight. So with that caveat, you're telling me that he just still deserves that title shot? Because Dana's saying he doesn't, though. That's also where I'm cluing it in. Dana said that's a step in the right direction. So even aside from what you want, right? I'll put aside what I want. Dana's saying it's a step in the right direction isn't a confirmation that Armand's next. And it's funny because he fucking doesn't confirm Armand's next, doesn't confirm Paddy's next, fucking says what Justin Gaethje's saying is wacky. It's like he's super uncommittal. Damn, okay, so Prime, who do you got then? Justin Gaethje? A lot of people think that Charles won that. Alright, we'll move on a little bit more though. Let's see what else we got here on this because there is some like weird griminess that I think happened here with one of the journalists. I think it's this one. So, John, if you remember a while ago, he tweeted something saying, like, the UFC knows my plans. I'm just waiting for them to share it with you. In fact, they've known it for months now. Dana just said that's not true, right? Because a lot of people inferred after the retirement, especially what Ariel said on his show. He went on the record and said this. John has been retired for months. The UFC just didn't bring it to light. Here's my opinion. The UFC is not retarded. We're all dealing with business here. John was saying he's retired, saying, okay, I'll just be done fighting then. In other words, like, you got to be willing to walk away in negotiation to get the money that you want. Remember, he turned down the FU money for more money. So he's still negotiating. So that's why he said, I'm quote-unquote retired. But obviously, if he meant it, the UFC wouldn't keep reaching out. So it was just one of those bullshit, like, I'll retire type things if you can't give me this money. That's what it kind of was. So it's with a caveat. You understand? And so Dana's saying it's not true that John was retired basically in you know what I'm saying, like 3 or 4 months ago. I believe him. And I believe Dana has been forthcoming with everything he said about the John Jones situation. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. I do. After the fact, now he has been. I think Dana was blowing a lot of bullshit smoke up our ass when it came to promoting the John versus Aspinall fight. But I think now that the fight fell through and John retired, I think he's been being honest. I think before that, though, he was fucking fake hyping it. He was also blowing smoke up our ass, acting like he likes John Jones. He's fucking didn't like John Jones for a long time for that Chael Sonnen fight. Again, leaving him high and dry in a main event. Arman Tsarukyan did kind of the same thing on a worser scale. Continuing this clip. Because the journalist does something really weird here. He's going to ask him, like, what's your response to him saying that? In a way. And then Dana's like, bro, I just gave you my answer. Like, it's not true. See, that's what I mean. Like, Dana doesn't have much to hide there, I don't think. I don't know. I'm telling you the truth. So that's my thing. And believe me, I ain't no Dana lover. Dana gets his fair share of criticism from me. In fact, he already did. Dana looks sad since his wife retired. Fucking, I had no clue that his wife retired. But Dana White needs to stop kicking it with the Nelk boys, I'll tell you that much. That shit's getting fucking really sad to look at. I'm just going to be dead honest with you. Okay, what else do we got here? I think this is the Gaethje clip. No, that's not it. What the hell? Oh, here we go. Bro, is the audio not coming through? Or is it coming through? Now it's gonna come through.
We love.
Yo, if you guys didn't have the audio there, you're tripping. You should have told me, Prime. I don't know. Nobody was complaining, though. All right, we're back on.
Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje did step up and
let me just rewind this in case you guys didn't get to watch it.
Division. Justin Gaethje said that if he doesn't get a title shot, that he'd be thinking about retiring, and that he's basically inferring that you guys owe him a favor for him stepping in for UFC 300. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Listen, everybody has their opinions on. Listen, if you're thinking about retiring, you know how I feel about that. You should probably retire. we love Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje did step up, and he's been an exciting, fun fighter to have here in the UFC. But to say, hey, listen, unless you give me a title shot, I'm retiring. That's pretty wacky.
It's low-key a little bit wacky. He admitted that he did help him out for UFC 300. He admitted, he did step up because Gaethje said that they showed up to his house begging him to fight Holloway. Dana basically said, yeah, that's true. We will take care of you, but come on, a title shot, bro, relax. So, again, shutting down Gaethje, shutting down Arman, saying that Paddy shouldn't have gone in the Octagon. But then Dana later said his biggest thing, he kind of cleared it up. And so you got to read between the lines again. Dana said, my biggest thing is that Paddy had his wife and his kid in there. So, Ilia had his wife and kid in there. So that's why he shouldn't have gone in there. And so, maybe, so it's all kind of, that leads towards Dana's down with the fight. He just didn't want them to face off because Ilia's family was in there, and Ilia had just had a crowning achievement moment, and it didn't need to be ruined by Paddy walking in there. He could have just celebrated himself there. So I really think that's all that was. What's this one?
This is with you and the...
Well, it's not about getting back in the...
Okay, no, we're all good. We're all good here. Okay, and now, so we only got really one from Ilia
tonight, but Paddy Pimblett did come in the cage tonight. Y'all had a little fun. I mean, but, there's Arman Tsarukyan, there's Justin Gaethje. Is that the fight that you want more than anything else?
Yes.
Yes, 1,000% yes.
Yes, that's the fight that I want. Because with Charles, I had a little bit difficult situation because I really like the guy, He's a really great human being. You can hate him. You always see him surrounded by his family, friends, teammates. He's an amazing human being. But at the end, I was like, this is competition. I have to do my job, and that's it. But with Paddy, I'm really gonna enjoy kicking his ass.
So this fight's happening, bro. I mean, even just listening to him here, I remember hearing too in another interview he did after the fight, he had to promise the UFC he's not going to go up to 170. So, I mean, he promised the UFC he's not going up to 170. Now he's not going to get the fight that he's asking for. Like, let's just be real about this. What was I going to say? Also, Ilia, the problem too is that Ilia is so much of a big star right now that, what he wants, it does matter. What he wants matters. What he wants to put effort into a promotion for matters at this point, because at the end of the day, he brings money for the UFC. He prints money for the UFC. So it benefits the UFC to give him a matchup that he wants to be a part of and he wants to promote. Ilia's got a huge name right now, and if Ilia wants to fight Paddy and settle that beef that's been brewing since like 2021, I see no reason not to get in the way of that, and I don't think anyone will. I just think Dana, again, is negotiating when he says the things he says, and maybe he just didn't want the family to get hurt with a potential face-off with a huge beef like that. Makes sense to me. But Dana, dude, don't go back to the fucking locker room so soon, bro. That's, like, really weird. Unless, I guess, you just didn't want to get caught up with the fans. That makes sense, actually. Okay, so here's Pantoja. I got a couple thoughts on him. Shout out to Pantoja. Put respect on his name for sure. Okay, let's start this.
And Merab is a huge guy, he's small, but he's a huge guy, He's heart, his spirit, it's so nice, one of the best. He's so good.
Baby, I'm going to answer that question. Bibu Hadi Rohan. I do think John comes back. And as soon as that fucking legal battle ends and Tom has one title defense under his belt. As soon as that happens, John's coming back. 100%. Mark my words. When Tom's a skeleton in a coffin. Prime thinks John ran. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, dude. Pantoja not wanting to fight Merab, man, pisses me off a little bit.
Good heart. He deserves this belt, And I have my division, man. I'm a 125 champion, you know. Why I think about go to the bantamweight? I don't think about that. If I go to the bantamweight and then I need to leave my belt, no way, man. You need to beat me in the octagon to leave this belt. I have so much more to prove to myself, you know.
So Pantoja is actually saying here, you know, the whole thing about no more double champs. That's Pantoja's kind of thing he's saying. If he has to move up and give up his belt, then he doesn't want to do that shit. He'll move up and keep his belt, you know, but if he has to move up and that means giving it up, ain't no way. Now, this is my argument. Pantoja's 35 years old. You know, being a flyweight, I think moving up to bantamweight could actually build up the division. You know what I mean? By being that big star, by going up, securing number 1 pound for pound status as a flyweight, by going up and beating a guy like Merab. Tell me no. Tell me that's not fucking true. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you're kind of like in this age where you're 35, going to be 36, and you got 1 fight, 2 to 3 max, bro. So you might as well maximize on this belt instead of getting it lost. Now, I mean, you could wait till you lose it and then go up, but I would say, you know, win this one and go up probably. Or win this one, win one more, go up. But I think you should go up regardless for the better of the flyweight division. Because going up and securing that pound for pound status, like we're going to get into in this other clip, going up and securing that, you know, will do something for the division and do something for the status of what flyweights can do. Putting that out there. Yeah, Pantoja is kind of admitting that Merab's going to beat his ass, and I don't like that. So it's like, if you think Merab's going to beat your ass, then I guess don't go up. You know? I guess don't go up. But he's like, he's a Hulk, and he's a big guy. He's small, but he's big. It's like, bro, let's just finish this clip, I guess.
Like I say, I'm a worky guy, you know. I go to the gym Monday, training hard, and I'm going to keep this belt for a long time.
Okay, keep your belt for a long time, Pantoja. It's all good. If you don't want it, you know what I mean? What are we going to do about it? We got this clip.
You need to be a little higher in the pound-for-pound rankings. Do you have a spot that you feel you belong? I mean, is it number 1, or do you be like, well, maybe there's some behind this?
No, it don't make sense. If I'm not the number 2, I'm just behind of the Islam Makhachev, you know? That's not make sense.
If you're not number 2, you're behind Islam. So let me pull up the rankings real quick because I did have them. And you got number 2. So to be honest with you, I mean, when Ilia goes up and wins that second belt, bro, you haven't done that shit. You haven't done that shit. I know you got multiple title defenses, but pound for pound is pound for pound. So going up and defending is a big deal. Now Merab, he's got 3 title defenses. Right? You got 4. You had 3 before this. So, oh shoot. I think there should be something along the lines of you could be 1, 2, 3. You could be 4th, pound for pound, because nobody else has more title defenses. Right? So I think Pantoja definitely deserves to be 1, 2, 3, 4th pound for pound. Now, who should be number 1 pound for pound right now? Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria, Monday morning, should be pound for pound number 1 fighter in the world. He's the only 2-division champion we have right now. The only one. Call it 3 title defenses, you know, because, I mean, or no, call it what? You captured the title against Volk. Then you defended it against Max. 1 defense. And now you go up and you get another belt. So, I mean, call it like, you know, kind of like 2 defenses to what, Islam's 3 or 4. But Islam's against featherweights and shit. It's just not the same. So, I'd say it goes Ilia, Islam. Honestly, you could go Ilia, Islam, Pantoja, Merab. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, also, since we're here, let's just pull this up real quick. Here's Sean. Oh, wait, let's not do that audio. Check this out, though. This is Sean Strickland. Look, watch it. Taunting Sean Strickland. He's choked out Sean's opponent, or teammate. Sean and Chris Curtis come storming the Octagon, and Sean throws a couple fucking right hands at his ass. That guy's a former police officer, or a current police officer. Luis Hernandez. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much all of the clips that I have for you right now on the post-fight presser. Now, moving forward. We got a couple other stories that I want to get into. Let me see here. Okay. The man, right? The man, the myth, the legend. Ben Askren. All right, Prime, we finally agree on something together then, homie. Ilia Topuria deserves to be number 1. Islam Makhachev number 2. That's the question. Let me put it in the chat, boys. Let me put it in the chat. This will be a good poll. Pantoja, what should Pantoja be P4P? 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, submit that. Let me know. That's important for Pantoja, honestly. Let's find out for him. Because this guy's been pretty upset about his ranking. So, let's find out. 4, 3, 2, 1. I say, honestly, bro, he's pretty dominant. And, like, he hasn't done anything more than Merab. I'd say give him a 3. I'd say give him 3. Okay, so let's take a look at this Jake Paul, right? So Ben Askren, let's just talk about this a little bit. Jake Paul vows to help Ben Askren cover his medical costs for life-saving double lung transplant surgery. He says he feels like he has to do something. Obviously, for those who haven't been paying attention, Ben Askren had staph infection. It developed into what I think doctors believed was pneumonia, but this is my theory. Doctors went ahead, ran some additional tests because they thought he had pneumonia because they realized something was up with his lungs, whether his oxygen levels were off or something like that. And then after a couple CAT scans or x-rays, they found out there's a hole in his lung, you know what I mean? And then they probably tested him, found out it was staph infection through a biopsy or something like that. So, with all of that being said, that's the backstory. Now Ben needs a double lung transplant. The staph infection ate a hole in one of his lungs, but apparently now he needs a double lung transplant for whatever reason that may be. I don't know how, the procedures work, but it's not like it's spread or anything. I think you need 2 in this case, although only 1 is damaged. So. Okay, so Jake is going to help out Ben Askren. The surgery cost, for 1 lung, it's like a little bit over $500,000. So for 2, I believe it's like a little bit over 1.1 million. So shout out to Jake Paul. A lot of people be hating on Jake, but he just beat Cesar Chavez Jr. He's a real boxer now, even though he's fucking way old, but it is what it is, bro. Jake's a decent guy. This is my thing about Jake. You can't be like always hating on the guy and then be like, oh, somebody needs help. Like, shell out your wallet, help him out, and then he does, and then like, you know, just like cut the guy some slack. I think he's doing his thing. I didn't even know he fought in Anaheim last night. 1.1 million. 1.1 million for a double lung transplant. Still kind of crazy. I did not know Jake Paul fought in Anaheim last night. Didn't pay attention to this fight at all. Let's move down the timeline here. Just showed you this. Oliveira's statement after the loss. So Oliveira did issue a statement. Yeah, Chavez is old as fuck, bro. I get it. Jake needs to fight like... I honestly don't even know who Jake should fight. Oh, damn. Was my thing... This shit was muted, huh? You didn't get to hear this?
Well, I mean, it's just insane. Insurance is a fucking scam, and it's so sad. And right when you need these companies, they're not there. And it's fucked up. And his insurance denied him to get the double lung transplant, which is also one of the most expensive surgeries, which is why they denied it. And it just sucks. It sucks that no one's doing anything. I was obviously super busy this week, so we're figuring out the donation now. But none of these people like Dana or anyone stepping in. So I feel like I have to do something, and that's really all it is.
And speaking of Dana,
yeah. So I mean, that's a cool thing for Jake to do. And if you do want to donate to Ben, you could fucking go to the link on my Instagram, and you can donate there. But you guys don't have to. Just fucking show your support for him however you'd like. Charles Oliveira's statement. How much I get paid? Fucking $1 million, Brody. That's the $1 million question right there. That is the $1 million question, isn't it? I got some decent money on the last stream. I can say that. Last stream got 18,000 views. So... That got me some good bread. But we gotta keep it up, Prime. Let me say this. Not enough. Can I say that, Prime? Not enough. Not nearly enough. That's why we're working hard over here, bro. And that's why this operation right here, easy to support. Mandatory to support. You feel me? Easy to support over here. We're real as it gets. So I ain't no millionaire by any means. Oliveira... With his statement, let's see what he said. Today wasn't my day, but I'm fine. Thanks for all the love. So, Oliveira's all good, but that was a brutal ass knockout, bro. I'm telling you. Ilia, the real deal. 100% say number 4 for Pantoja so far. I'm going to throw my vote in. I'm going to go 3. Alright. Roy Val issues a statement. This is kind of interesting. My bad. Also, Dana's paying Roy Val his win money, so that's amazing to hear. A tale of the scorpion and the frog. Some individuals are driven by uncontrollable instincts, even when those instincts lead to self-destructive or harmful actions. Wish I could change, but I've always been this. Thanks for those who have supported me along the way. So basically, Roy Val is kind of saying, like, he just goes into fucking killer instinct mode, you feel me? That's all it is, bro. And, like, it's kill or be killed, but he kind of just spams, and that's his style. Oh, Jacoby Smith commented, the man, Dana White, hell yeah. That's just Roy Val's style, you know? So it's part of the game, but when you come in there, you deliver fights like that. I just worry that when he's 50... Bro, it's a lot of damage you took, so hopefully Dana can take care of him. And yeah, this is it. He's inherently predisposed to destructive behavior. That's basically it. Even when it contradicts his own interest. So if you were like, damn, why are you fighting like, you know, crazy in the last 10 seconds when you kind of lost the fight? Just how he does it. Just how he does that shit. Ryan and Oscar going off on each other. I don't even know if I can show the other photo, so I can't, but Just know it's of Oscar De La Hoya and Fishnets, and Ryan called him Oscar De La Fishnets. Fucking golden ass name. I know why Oscar is a bitch in people's eyes, and that's facts. I can't wait till I'm away from that fake bitch. I'm gonna turn up and win just like I did against all his bitch ass fighters. Fuck Golden Boy Promotions. So Ryan does not fuck with Golden Boy right now at all. And then Oscar, what's AFK, Prime? So I know every time you say that. And then you can fucking go do that real quick. Definition of AFK, or I gotta Google it. Alright, so then Oscar responded and said, unfortunately, Ryan Garcia is having another episode. 10 days ago, he's talking about God and finding his path. Then tonight, he sends me this rant while watching his fellow Golden Boy fighters win. Bipolar disorder is very serious, and I hope he gets the help he needs. By the way, boys, I just thought of this. Is the Big Four in the building? Do we got the Big Four in the building? Because I see 6 people in the viewers right now, and I don't think it's dropped below 4. So I feel like we got the Big Four in the building. And if the Big Four is in here right now, shout out to the Big Four. Fucking comment so I know you're in here. Okay. First of all, this is actually hilarious. Ryan's rant to Oscar is hilarious. Okay. And you can tell Ryan's done this plenty of times. First of all, F you, especially for one disrespecting me with that shitty contract because I lost, but I'm your actual only current star fighter. You can suck a dick, and I know you already do, so fuck you. You can kiss my ass, I'll beat Rolly's ass, and whoever. I can't wait till I go against you again like I did with Duarte and Duno to see your stupid ass face looking stupid as fuck. You and that stupid offer, bitch. I'll slap the fuck out of you just like Canelo and Berlanga. That's too good, bro. That is too good. That's too good. Okay, shout out Jay. Shout out Jay. So we got the Big Four, Jay, but we got room for the Big Five up to the Big Six. Did Jay message me earlier? Oh no. Hey Jay, oh no, that's not you. That's Zay. Zay messaged me about getting Jacoby Smith on. If we got any Jacoby Smith fans in the building, I do have an interview with him already from earlier this year after his debut, but we're working on getting him back on. So just a reminder there, because I thought Jay was Zay. All right. Shout out to the Big Four. But yeah, this was hilarious by Ryan. I gotta say that was one of the best fucking disses I've ever heard. Too good. But on a serious note, Oscar's claiming Ryan's got bipolar disorder. So if that is the case, you know, prayers up for Ryan. Hopefully he gets the help he needs. But I think he was just pissed as fuck about that contract, and I almost think he was like joking here about it. But yeah, I guess Oscar must have sent Ryan a shit-ass contract after his loss to Rolly, which is crazy work. And so that's why Ryan went off on Oscar. So that might be the stream, boys. I'm telling you, that might be the stream. Let's see if I got anything else for you. Did anyone watch the Cesar Chavez versus Jake Paul fight, by the way? We could do a Q&A if you guys want to fucking ask me questions. That'll make me stick around for longer. But if not, I'll probably end up dipping. Okay, let me see here. What else we got? All the double champs in UFC history, boys. You ready for this? You got McGregor. You got DC. You got Cejudo. I think those are the three simultaneous, you know, like at once. And then on top of that, you got GSP. You got Randy Couture. You got BJ Penn. You got Ilia Topuria. You got Alex Pereira, you got John Jones, and you got Amanda Nunes. What a Mount Rushmore that is. What a Mount Rushmore that is. Yeah, there's not much more than that, boys. Let me see. Not much more than that, boys. Juice Man boxing so padded. You know what's annoying me is I just saw that Devin Haney got his next fight booked, and it's like, bro, I never heard of his opponent. That's what I'm most sick of, is never hearing about these guys' opponents and the fight getting announced that way. Like, bro, and I get it. Sometimes with Gervonta, it's not that bad because Gervonta, you know, like Lamont Roach, like I didn't really know Lamont before the fight, but then when he fought him, I'm like, okay, damn, like Lamont's pretty good. I guess with Canelo too at times, like Berlanga, you know, Jaime Munguia, some of these guys are like half decent, you know. But with Haney, bro, none of the guys he fights are like that good, man. None of them. None of them. Ryan fights good opponents though, you know. Like that Duarte fight was good when Ryan fought that Campbell guy. Luke Campbell, that was a good fight. But, man, as far as some of these other ones go, like Devin Haney's of the world, Shakur Stevenson's of the world, who the hell are you fighting? Please tell me who the hell you're fighting. That's my biggest thing. Ilia's gonna kill Paddy. I mean, shit. That's what it seems like, right? But to be honest with you, Paddy stands more of a chance than I think some of you guys think. Should we get into that one? Because when we're talking grappling, bro, I think it's gonna be a lot harder for Ilia to be trying to submit Paddy. Takedowns and stuff, we'll have to see it. Jiu-jitsu, I think you'd be surprised, MMA fan. Paddy's a lifelong fucking grappler, bro. There's no reason why they're not equal level at the very least. Let me see. I do know that Paddy's chin's in the air, though. I do know that. And he believes in that iron chin. He does. He does. I'm not gonna fucking say it wrong there. I just think that, you know, we gotta see it. We gotta see it. Now, MMA fan, do you think that Ilia starches Paddy? I mean, yeah, it's right. It's rightfully so, bro. How can you say the opposite, right? Paddy starches Ilia. It does sound crazy, but I am leaning towards, you know, Paddy versus Ilia going to be closer than a lot of you guys think. I'm just saying that right now. Paddy versus Ilia is going to be a lot closer than a lot of you guys think. I need to watch some footage, actually, and just kind of find out some of my theories. But let me see here. Imagine seeing that in the UFC. Like, that would be some serious shit. Yeah, a fucking, like a Khabib record in the UFC, like a 30-0 type shit. That would be crazy. Ilia's good enough grappling to keep it standing. Yeah, I mean, Ilia's gonna be the one who dictates if it goes on the ground or not. But, you know, Paddy's the type of guy that'll, like, clinch you up, pull guard and shit. You know? It's a good fight. And Paddy looked a lot bigger than Ilia. A lot bigger. That's one thing I noticed. Ilia and Paddy are going to, like, fucking start on the feet, I think, at first. Obviously. Because that's how every fight starts. But I think they're going to duke it out for a hot minute on the feet. And then, once somebody gets rocked, there's going to be some takedowns thrown. You're going to see scrambles happening, and you're probably going to see a finish fucking early. Just a shocking finish, I would imagine. Somebody getting caught. Or could you see it being a bloodbath? Paddy finishes a lot of his guys, man. Quick, too. No way Ilia loses to Paddy. Honestly, bro, I'm not going to doubt that. But this is the thing for me. I really want to see the fight. I really want to see the fight. He's going to go from fighting Green Chandler to fighting Topuria. Yeah, you know, 'cause, like if Paddy were to get a win over Armand, then he'd be really solidified, right? Then you'd kind of be like, nah, Paddy can hang. Paddy's proven. And that's the thing about a lot of UFC fighters is they're not fully proven when they get pushed up to that level. They almost get pushed up because they can't get fully proven out of fear of them losing, right? Because that's why they're pushing this fight now, because they don't want to lose it. That's the problem. So that's what you get in the UFC a little bit. You do get like the greenness. And there's something to say about boxing. Boxing, that's why, you know, it's a little bit of a slower build. Because you get to fight every style. You got to like be proven against every style. Then with certain fighters, you can say, no, he's fought a big puncher already. He knows how to fight that. He's fought this. He knows how to get past that. But Paddy, you know, he's got a few styles that he still hasn't fought against, in the UFC at least. And that's the ultimate proving ground. So, I'm with you on that. Versus a guy like Ilia, he kind of is proven now. But he really only got proven against guys like Max and Alex and now Charles. So, I get where you're coming from when you say Paddy is also not ready. I do get where you're coming from. And I tend to agree with it. I do. But again, I was saying like Joshua Van was getting like, you know, set up. So like, you know, sometimes I look bad with this shit. You know, and that's why it's hard to predict. Hard to predict. That's usually what happens is when they're not ready. It's kind of you can tell for sure. You can tell. One example was a little bit. Tracy Cortez really gets outclassed on the feet a lot of times whenever she fights, like when she fought Rose, you know. But all right, boys, I think I'm gonna head out of the stream. We just did an hour and 2 minutes. I'm fighting off yawns, boys. I'm fighting off yawns. It's late. Shout out to MMA fan. MMA fan, you subscribed? If not, make sure you subscribe, homie. Prime's probably going to be coming back, and then the stream's going to be over. And that's the problem, right? And that's when you get the thing about Paddy being green, because a lot of people do believe Armand would be Paddy, because Armand's not green. Armand is one of those guys, he's been tested against every style, you know? Even against Islam early on. So, you know, on paper, Armand should get that, but it's just like Paddy versus Ilia is such a money fight, bro. And we can't forget about that, you know? The money's too good. Paddy's win streak is too good. There's a lot of stuff in the making just to keep it there. And then now the only downside is that Paddy isn't fully ready, right? That's the only downside. Armand versus Ilia 50-50 fight. Yeah, I pretty much agree with you there. At least that's how I would be looking at it going into it. I don't think you could have the narrative you have when it comes to Paddy and versus Armand and Ilia, right? When you talk about Paddy versus Armand and Ilia, you're being like, what's his name? Paddy's gonna get starched by Armand and Ilia. But when you talk about Armand versus Ilia, you can't be talking like that. Almost like this, right? I don't think the UFC wants Paddy to get killed this soon, but I think they're afraid that he's going to get killed before they make the money off him. And I think that's what they don't want. They'd almost rather him get killed this soon if it means getting killed before they make the money off him. Because if you give him a Gaethje, if you give him an Oliveira, if you give him some of these names, right, and he loses, then he didn't make the money off him. And look at how much they've kind of already invested in Paddy. You have to look at it like that too. That's what DJ doesn't realize. It's like a record label. Like the UFC's already dropped like a milli on Paddy. You know, in promotional fucking expenses. Going to London in 2021, that was for Paddy. You know, partially for Paddy to build that fan base fresh off his signing. So I think that the UFC wants to make their money back off of Paddy before he loses. As in, he won't want to fight Armand. Beg for a title shot to avoid Armand or just to get that Islam fight? That would be my question to you, MMA fan. But, I mean, I'm inclined to think that after you beat Paddy, you just keep going up like that. It's like the McGregor effect. If you were around for the McGregor's career, you know, McGregor went like, you know, got the featherweight title. Then he tried to go up and contend for the title. Dos Anjos pulled out. He fought Nate Diaz, rematched Nate Diaz, won, and then he went ahead and beat Eddie Alvarez. Then he went ahead and he fought Floyd Mayweather. So, like, that's what Ilia's going to do. He's going to parlay it like that. So, yeah, you get that big fight versus Paddy. You parlay it. You go up to 170, bro. You keep the ball rolling. Because, again, I don't know. When you're, like, a guy that's super big like this, there's so much to gain, you know? Why leave the money on the table just to stick around in the division like a Pantoja? Just to get that third title. Yeah, I think that's what it would be for me. I think Ilia is just on a competitive basis just going to want to get that third title. Speaking of this, though, I'll say this. We'll be almost wrapping up here. I think that in the press conference, replay it. It's only in like the first couple of questions that get asked for Ilia. He asks like, "Oh, is that one of the best combos you've ever thrown?" And Ilia says, "No, I got better combos." And he says, like, "How does this feel? Like, does this feel as good as you imagined it?" And Ilia's like, "It's even better than I imagined it." So Ilia's like already on this, like, he like, see how he answers those questions? Like, is that the best you've shown us? No, I got better. Is that the best feeling you've ever had? No, it felt better than I imagined it. You know, it's always like better and better. So I think Ilia's gonna keep parlaying. You beat a guy like Paddy, I want to better this. I want to go up to 170. You know, because also let me just say this. Ilia isn't here, you know, for a long time. He's here for a good time at this point. So it's like if he doesn't have these fights that he really wants to capitalize on, there's no point for him to fight. He's reached that status already. He's there, you know? So he doesn't have to stick around and fight 4 or 5 times defending the title, making 500K. That doesn't work for Ilia if you guys don't realize that yet. You know, at this point, he's so rich, and it's crazy because he's only defended the title and now he's got a new title, but he's already wealthy as fuck. So he doesn't need to fight for $500,000. In fact, that's almost a waste of his time. And you're about to find that out with the new contract he signs. Then he gets the Paddy fight, signs a new contract. You know what I'm saying? No need, bro. No need. And when you get money like Ilia, like I said, it's not even worth your time. You know, Ilia doesn't even need to fight for anything less than fucking, honestly, probably like $750,000 to $1 million at this point. I feel like he's 100% $1 million fighter at this point. No less. Guaranteed 1 million. You know? And think about it. By the time he beats Paddy and contends for that 170 title, I mean, you're talking about a $5 million guarantee or something crazy. Especially if he knocks out Paddy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. A lot of guys need to just get out. You know, I'll say this too. John Jones. At least John Jones kind of got out. You know, because obviously Dana wants Tom to knock John Jones's ass out and steal all of his hype, you know? And John kind of was like, "Nah, I'm good. I won't get knocked out. I'm going to just dip now while I'm ahead." Honestly, I like that MMA fan. Ilia versus Justin. Just going off of Dana White's conference, though, it seems like he wasn't down to give Justin the title fight. It honestly seemed like Dana was mostly inclined to give it to Paddy. But if they were to do Ilia versus Justin, Paddy versus Arman, based off the conversation we've had this evening, I tend to agree with you. I think that's the most fair. You know, but Arman's probably going to mess up that money. But let's see, Paddy beats Arman, then you can't say shit, right? Then you can't say shit going into that Ilia fight like, "Oh, Paddy's getting starched." You got to call it a 50-50 fight. We're going to come back to the stream if that's what happens. But, all right, boys. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you, boys. Peace out, boys. Hey, Wednesday stream, 4 p.m. And I'll honestly probably be doing more streams, but this one got out a little bit late. Justin that would be fucking a nasty fight, honestly. With a likely nasty finish, because Ilia, you need to at least have youth in your chin if you're fighting Ilia at this point. No way Paddy will beat Arman. How? I don't know, but you know, Paddy seems to be confident, so maybe Paddy knows something we don't know. But all right, boys. Peace out, doggies. See you on Wednesday. And tap into the Jacoby Smith interview. We're going to get that going this week, too. Also, the Jose interview, the guy who knocked out Hyder, we're going to get him on. So, peace.